There are so many golfers who feel so comfortable over their pitching wedge, 9 iron, 8 iron, but once you get a little bit further down the bag and you start hitting that 6 iron, the 5 iron, even the 4 iron, they really struggle. And believe me, I've been one of those players. I have my good times, my bad times with the long irons. So in this video, I'm going to take you through a practice session, and we're going to talk about what you really should be avoiding when it comes to long irons, some swing thoughts that have helped me that may help you, and maybe a drill or two that can help you out along the way. Now, I think that one of the most common mistakes that people make is they will set up to their ball the same way with a 5 iron as they would a 9 iron, when in reality, they're different clubs. They have very different lofts, they have different lengths, so you should be stepping up to that ball a little bit differently. For one, your feet should be a little bit further apart, you should be standing further away from the ball, and your weight should not be as far forward as it would be for a pitching wedge. Now, personally, I think that's a very common mistake that a lot of people make. When you're hitting a pitching wedge or a 9 iron, you really have a lot of weight on that left side for the right-handed golfer, on that lead side. And you're swinging down on it, you're making a pretty sizable divot with a 9 iron, whereas if you have a 5 iron in hand, you don't need to be making that divot. So what we want to focus on is maybe a little bit of a more shallow swing, shallow through the ball. You can see those rehearsals right there. You don't want to be digging in. Now, if you're going to hit a fade and you're naturally steep, that's fine. Just make sure that your divot length, that divot size, the angle of attack into the ball is fairly neutral. It's very difficult to hit good long iron shots if you're taking big divots and you're very over the top. I think that one great drill you can do to work away from being a little bit too steep is place a tee peg very deep in the ground, only maybe have an inch of that tee peg. Place that, I'd say, maybe 4 inches in front of the golf ball, and try not to hit that tee peg, or certainly break it in half with a thick divot. Now, the next mistake that I think that so many people fall victim to, but it's a fairly simple fix, is that when you step up to a 5 iron or a 4 iron, you generally are going to hit the ball a pretty long way. It's generally an approach shot, and you really want to get it out there, and you want to be on or around the green. So you step up to it, and you take your setup, and you really, really get after it. You swing hard, your tempo shortens up a little bit, and in reality, there's no reason to be swinging notably harder. Now, your swing speed will generally be a little bit higher for these long irons because you're going to have more swing width. It's a longer club, etc. But you shouldn't feel like you're really stepping on your 4 and 5 iron compared to your 8 or 9 iron. Now, a very simple drill or exercise that you can do on the driving range that I've found quite valuable is I take out my 9 iron and I hit it my stock yardage. So for me right now, my 9 iron's going about 145, and I hit that 3 or 4 times, and I really get an active feel over the tempo, the swing rhythm, the swing speed of that club. And then I switch right to my 4 iron. I make the subtle adjustments to my setup that I mentioned earlier, feet a little bit wider, ball towards that left inside heel just a little bit more, standing further away from the golf ball, but I work on the exact same tempo. I use the swing rhythm, the swing tempo, those feels that I had over that 9 iron, I bring those exact same feels and principles into my 4 iron. And generally speaking, when I do that, my ball striking improves. I have much more balance in my golf swing. I hit the center of the club face, and although at the very exact same swing rhythm as the 9 iron, I probably won't be hitting it as far as I would normally hit a 4 iron. It's a great exercise to exaggerate that slower feel. So in summation of what really holds a lot of people back with their long irons is quite simply a lack of consciousness over what you're doing. If you step away and you think, hey, this isn't just any iron, this is a 4 iron. So make all of those adjustments to your setup. I cannot stress enough how important it is to make conscious adjustments to your setup with these long irons. A 4 iron, no matter who you are, no matter what you're doing, it's a difficult club to hit. If you want to be hitting that 210 yards, it's difficult to hit a shot 210 yards and accurate for the amateur golfer. That's just the way it is. So before stepping up to that shot, think about your line, think about your tendencies, and when you get over that ball, make sure that you're setting up properly. Now, when it comes to working on your setup, spend some time on the range. Film yourself from the angle that I'm filming at here, just so you can, really dial in a feeling of, this is how far I want to be away from the ball. This is where I want the ball to be in my stance. there's no right answer for, you should be this many inches away from the ball. There is no right answer. Just play around with it and find what works for you the best. I'd love to hear more about your own experience with long irons, what you've been struggling with, what has worked for you. Some people ditch them all together and go with hybrids. All of that's just fine. Please leave them in the comment section down below so I can get a better feel for what everyone else has been up to with the long irons. And as always, thank you all very much for watching. Play well and take care.